Okay. Am I on? I've never done this before. I must be on. Let's see. Michaela, tell me if I'm not on, okay? Um, uh, Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Whole Family Health Facebook Live. My name's Alda, and I am a registered doctor of Chinese medicine and acupuncturist, and also a mindfulness instructor. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my practice with you this evening, because it's kind of a really super intense time, isn't it? I know that for me, we closed the clinic on Monday, and so I've been in isolation at home with my family since then, and it has. It's been pretty full on. So it's like when people ask me how I am, if I'm to be really, it's like, how am I actually? And I mean, my honest answer is that I'm everything, along the spectrum of possible human emotion, I feel. So, everything from, of course, like pretty intense fear and anxiety, panic, um, even like moments of like total paranoia, like just thinking like, okay, are my hands clean? Are they clean? Just, worried about loved ones. Our parents are in their 70s, so I find myself having a lot of kind of irrational fear about their health and safety. And, of course, financial anxiety, and then just there's so much uncertainty. We don't know exactly how this is going to unfold. We don't know, for how long. So all of this is just, pretty much just putting me a little bit on edge, to be honest. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I'm also, having a lot of moments of just feeling super grateful. There's a way in which it's been very grounding to be at home. It's been this sort of call to turn inward a little bit. And it's actually, in some ways, I mean, I'm still quite busy and working, but in a lot of ways, it's really called me to slow down, I think, and I think it's called a lot of us to slow down. And I've been reflecting so much on just what's really, really important, and finding different ways to connect with people, and connecting, and kind of being in this, like, I don't know, collective calling, I feel, to find the courage and the will to change a lot of routine habits in service to something bigger, than our individual selves. So just like feeling really connected to everybody. We're all, we're all in this together, and we really are, financially it's super scary for us, but it's super scary for everybody. Everybody's in the same boat. And so there's a way in which I'm feeling very kind of bonded and connected to, I don't know, just humanity. We're all going through this thing at the same time. And so that is sort of this whole other, expansive feeling that I'm experiencing. Yeah, so everything, like from this end to this end and everything in between, and sometimes, within seconds. So I just wanted to just share a little bit of my practice with this, because I'm really, one of the beautiful things that's happened or come out of this is that a lot of my mindfulness communities are actually elsewhere, so geographically elsewhere, and I haven't been able to practice with them. But with what's been going on, we've actually all been meeting on Zoom, and so I've actually been able to connect and practice mindfulness in this time, and it's been just really, really helpful. So I just wanted to share it. So here's the thing. Our brains are wired to be fearful. I mean, fear is like a very useful, human experience. It helps us to protect ourselves. So, back when we were primitive people and we saw that speck on the horizon that was, slowly coming towards us, we had a way better chance of survival if we experienced fear and we fled. So our brains are actually, wired to function in this way. It's this amazing protective mechanism that has allowed us to survive and to evolve. And so it's something that we can be grateful for. However, if we stay there and if we don't exercise other neural pathways, so the part of our brain, it's the limbic system that that engages when we're experiencing this fear and this anxiety and this stress. It's the primitive part of the brain. The prefrontal cortex is the other part of the brain that allows us to have higher functioning thinking, higher order thinking, and allows us to have perspective. And it also allows us to, it's involved in feeling love and compassion. So basically it allows us to override this very, very ingrained neural pathway to experience fear. So we want to be engaging this prefrontal cortex. So mindfulness meditation actually helps the prefrontal cortex to grow. And it's kind of like going to the gym and exercising a muscle. So every time we go to the gym and we do like a bicep curl, this muscle gets stronger. So there are things that we can do. So mindfulness meditation, for example, does that same thing. It exercises this prefrontal cortex and the neural pathways that allow this part of our brain to fire and to function. So then we're able to not be hijacked by this fear. So that's what it is. That's why I'm kind of into it. And so it's really, I think we do have to kind of think of it as it's an exercise. It's not, there's a lot of people, when I talk to them about it, there's this idea like, I can't do it. It's too hard. And it is, it is hard. It's like going to the gym. We just have to kind of, and it is kind of like breaking habits. So that's what I've been finding in this experience is that of having to be in isolation and social distancing. It's like when I see people, I want to like hug them and, so when we run into our neighbors, I kind of have this sort of cell memory in me of wanting to just, to go towards them and to hug them, but I have to interrupt that and change my habits. So it's the same kind of idea on a micro level with our thoughts. And so I'm just going to do a little bit of guiding, a little guided meditation to give you a little bit of a felt sense of what it's about. So one of the most basic exercises in mindfulness meditation is breath awareness. So breathing is something that we do all the time. So we do it even when we're not consciously doing it. Our bodies are just doing it autonomically on its own all the time. So it's always there. It's this resource that we have. It's this touchstone that we have that's always available to us. And so what is happening when we're bringing attention to our breath is that we are flexing that muscle where it's like one bicep curl. So what you're going to experience as I guide you through this is that The mind is designed to think. It's not about, there's this idea that, meditation is about not thinking. It's about stopping thinking. But that's not actually what it's about. My understanding is that what it's about is actually just cultivating a different relationship with our thoughts. So, and it's about, creating space for all of our thoughts and trusting that they are just these sort of events that happen. They come and they go and they pass. Every single one of them. We have some crazy amount of like a gazillion trillion thoughts, per second, really, in our brain. And so that's what it's designed to do. We can't, with all of our force, we can't stop that. What it's about, it's kind of like letting your drive defragment, I feel. So it's about, making space, and instead of like, being caught up and hijacked by the thoughts are kind of like, waves in storms at the top of the ocean, at the surface of the ocean, right? So they're there, they're happening, they're coming and they're going, they're coming and they're going. And I think when we're in autopilot, we're just sort of there. We're in the waves, we're in the storm, we're there. That's the reality. That's how we identify with our thoughts. But what mindfulness meditation allows us to do is that it allows us to realize that we're more than just the waves. We're actually the ocean. We're the water, and we're also the waves. So what breath awareness allows us to do is it allows us to drop below the waves into the depths of the ocean. And here, if you can imagine yourself in the depths of the ocean with waves and storms at the surface, in the depths of the ocean, it's still and it's quiet. So it's not about making those waves go away. They're going to be there. They're doing their thing. But we don't have to, we're bigger. We can widen the aperture a little bit and know that we are, we're bigger. We're more than those thoughts, whether they are, uncomfortable, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant. Whatever they are, we can make space for them. So, so our breath is like this anchor that brings us below the surface, below the waves, into the depths of the ocean, and it's always there, our breath. It is this point of concentration, so it exercises our ability to concentrate and focus, which is what engagement of the prefrontal cortex is. It's our cognitive ability. So again, each time we bring our awareness and touch it with our breath, it is like bringing our breath and our minds together. So that's what it is. It is, it's that quality of presence. So in this moment, we're not in the fears about the future, and we're not in the sort of regrets, of the past. We're just here. So with that explanation, I'm going to just guide us through a little bit of a breath awareness exercise. So some things to keep in mind as we do this are to keep a very open and curious attitude, right? So there's no right or wrong here. There's no right or wrong. It just is. So you might notice a lot of thoughts, right? And they might be negative, they might be positive, they might be mundane. We just have all kinds of thoughts. Could be a grocery list, could be, it could be anything. But just make space for them, right? So notice them and don't fight them, don't try to control them, and don't judge them, right? So, oftentimes when I'm, meditating or practicing breath awareness, I'll have so many moments of like, oh my gosh, I'm totally not in my breath right now. I'm thinking about some other thing. And then there's always this other layer of like judgment, right? I'm like, ugh, I'm thinking again. I'm not supposed to think. Or like, oh, like, what is that thought? That thought is like such a rude thought, or that thought is such a silly thought. So there's all these layers. So if we can try to just, experience, just try to anchor ourselves in our breath, notice the thoughts, Just notice them, but like they're clouds passing through the sky kind of idea. And try not to judge them, right? So just kind of notice them with kindness, right? And then just put them down, right? So just like bring your attention back to your breathing. So we're kind of cultivating this sort of equanimity. So it's like this sort of just acceptance, you know, of what's happening. There's no resisting. There's no trying to distract ourselves from it. It's just sort of letting it be. So okay, so with that, we want to just find ourselves in a comfortably seated position. So I am sitting on a stool. So if you're on a chair, you want to be probably sitting on the edge of your chair. Ideally, you want you want your shoulders and your back to be straight. Ideally, you want your knees to be below your hips, and your feet touching the ground. So that's if you're in a chair. If you're on a cushion, then just find yourself in a comfortably seated position where you're going to be for a little bit. So, but don't also. It's not wrong to shift. If you're uncomfortable, there's a lot of freedom here. There's no right or wrong. You can just shift your position. So, so with that, I'm just going to, at the sound of the bell here, we can just follow the sound of the bell and close our eyes. Okay. So let's just feel into our bodies here. Bring your awareness to where you are in contact with the chair or the floor or cushion, where you're being supported by the floor or whatever surface you're on. And just feel that point of contact. And feel yourself settle into this. And we want to straighten our backs and maybe roll our shoulders back, tuck our chins a little bit so that we know that our spine is comfortably in alignment and upright. And we're just going to relax our bodies. So we want an upright position that is alert. And the word that I like to use is dignified. And we can pretend that there's a string coming out of the top of our heads that's pulling us up like a marionette. And our eyes can just be softly closed. So we can go through and just relax, feel and soften our legs and our feet. Relax and soften our abdomen, our trunk, our back. Again, relax and soften, maybe roll back your shoulders. You can have your hands in your lap. You can have them face down on your knees, whatever's comfortable for you. And we're going to just relax our facial muscles. We do a lot of expressing all day and a lot of holding in our faces, so if we can just slowly feel our cheeks and our chins, our noses, and feel trim that space between the nostrils and your top lip. Just let this all soften. That space between your eyebrows, between your eyes, that frowning spot. We're just going to relax that and soften that. We can soften our lips and our mouths into what I like to call a half smile. Right? Just an open and relaxed expression. And so once we are comfortable, I want you to find a place on your body where you can feel your breath easily. So for some people, it's their chest. For some people, it's their abdomen. For some people, it's that space right here. I'm not supposed to touch my face. But this space right here between our nostrils and our upper lip there, the top of our upper lip, so that the philtrum. These are all areas where we may easily feel our breath. It might be different for you. You might feel it, in your back. Or you might have a hard time connecting to your breath, and that's okay too. So then you can just feel into maybe, your hands or somewhere where it feels easier. There's no right or wrong here. So I've got a sigh coming through. So there's no, when we bring our attention to our breathing, we're going to feel the soft rise and fall of our breathing. We don't have to control our breathing here. It's not really about, we don't have to have deep breaths. Your breathing could be actually really shallow right now, and that's okay. However it is okay. We don't need to manipulate it. We don't need it to be any particular way. We're just going to let it, flow how it's flowing, and we're just going to pay attention to it. So if it's your chest or your tummy, you might feel just the rise or fall. You might actually feel the fabric of your clothing, shifting as you're breathing. If you're feeling your breath, below your nostrils, you might feel that soft, tickle as the breath is moving against your skin. So we're going to just focus on our breathing in this way. And as we do this, we're going to have thoughts arising. They're going to be, distracting thoughts. And that's okay. So when that happens, you can just say, oh, thought. And bring your attention back to your breath. Just with patience and with kindness. And without any kind of judgment. And you might, end up doing this. There's some days that I meditate and I'm literally, bringing my attention back from a thought and anchoring it onto my breath. I can't even, countless times, really, in one session. And that's okay, because each time we're doing that is an opportunity to flex that muscle. That's how we flex the muscle, actually, is when we bring our attention from the thought back to our breath. It's not about always being in our breath necessarily. Bringing our attention from this distracting thought or this thought that's arising, noticing the thought and bring our attention back to the breath, that is actually flexing that bicep muscle. So it's our friend. It's not a shortcoming, it's not a failure. It's an opportunity. And so breathing in, we know that we are breathing in. And breathing out, we know that we are breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. In, out. In, out. In, out. Kindness. Okay, and with the sound of the bell, we're going to bring our attention back into the room, into the sounds around us. And so you can bring a little bit of movement into your fingers and toes. You can just wiggle them a little bit. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that's just one of the foundations of mindfulness meditation. So our breath's always there. We can do it when we're sitting. You can do it, when you're stopped at a red light. You can do it when you're on hold on the phone with your bank from 9 until 3:30 with gratitude. There are countless opportunities throughout the day for us to practice breath awareness. And so I'm going to invite you to do that throughout the days. Even if it's just like 3 breaths. Those are bicep curls. Those are creating those neural pathways, and that is strengthening your ability to engage the prefrontal cortex to override that knee-jerk reflex to experience stress and anxiety and fear. So it's really about balancing it out, right? Our brains are programmed to focus more on the negative. It's what's helped us to survive. So we actually have to work a little bit harder to balance that out. And so, this breath awareness coming into, paying attention to what we feel grateful for is actually, it helps to balance things out a bit. So, every time we have a kind of contracted thought, it can be a reminder to then actually, stop, pause and stop and water another seed in our consciousness. And so that seed can be a seed of gratitude. And so that's something that I want to invite us all to do. So maybe, in the comments, if you can just sort of stop and pause and, come out of the waves at the surface of the ocean, come into your breath and pause, and maybe think about something that, hasn't been canceled in this time, or something that has helped you to feel, grateful or, peaceful, or, something that has nourished you to, just bring you into that broader sense of who we are in terms of the waves and the water. So, experiences or thoughts that you've experienced, that you have, experienced, that has enabled you to come into the ocean part and out of the waves. So that's it. That's what I've got. So I'll be doing this again next Wednesday, next week. Please do feel free to join again. And this will be, posted on our Facebook page, so you'll be able to come back and reference it if you like. If you have any questions at all, feel free to private message us or email us through our website. And make sure to check out our other Facebook Live events. We've got such beautiful practitioners who just have all these gifts that they want to share in this time, because it actually, it helps us to feel better too. So thank you all so much for joining today, and and just we love you. We love everybody, and we're sorry that we can't give you acupuncture and massages right now. But yeah, check out our Facebook Lives, and we do have some other online services that you can access, resources that you can access to help you through this time too. So lots of love, and please continue to enjoy your breathing this week.